It's so not Schwartzy. No, not Schwartzy. I have an update on Jaden Schwartz. Maybe I was a little dramatic, but it's not a great update. And we're also going to talk about USA Hockey. We're going to talk about the schedules that we have and some roster updates. Finally, we're going to end the show talking about practice, because all the Seattle Kraken are doing is practicing. That and more on Locked On Kraken.
You are Locked On Kraken, your daily podcast on the Seattle Kraken, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
We are the Seattle Kraken.
Hey, Seattle hockey fans. Erica Lindsay Ayala, your host of Locked On Kraken. As always, thank you for making Locked On Kraken your first listen of the day. Unfortunately, not great news. We got word yesterday, share this screen with you, but Jaden Schwartz to have hand surgery, expected to be out 4 to 6 weeks. The man Andy-eyed with the story over at the Seattle Kraken homepage, nhl.com/Kraken. Also in the show notes for you. You know, I hate it. Schwartzy, part of that Triple J line that has been tossed to and fro a lot. Of course, that's Jaden Schwartz, Jordan Eberle, and Jared McCann was centering that line for a while. And it's Jaden Schwartz, one of the alternate captains. You hate to see it. Now, on the one hand, all of this practice that we're going to talk about later on the show. If it's, 6 weeks, I mean, given the way the schedule is going, Jaden Schwartz could come back this season. But if there are any games played within that stretch, that's a massive loss. But you don't have to take my word for it. We're going to hear, of course, from Dave Haxtell and one of the Jays, Jordan Eberle, about the impact of Jaden Schwartz and what his loss means for the Seattle Kraken roster. So let's hear from Dave Haxtell first, and then we'll head over to Jordan Eberle. Both of these coming from today, Friday's practice. The Seattle Kraken will not practice tomorrow, but they will practice on Sunday and then get ready for their next game. Holy cannoli, we're getting a Seattle Kraken game day! On Monday, they'll be on the road. We'll get more into that later on the show. Haxtell, then Eberle on Jaden Schwartz.
Well, Schwartz, he's a guy that any combination we've put him with this year, he's been a real driver for that group, for that combination. He's a guy that's really good down low in the zone, and allows us to extend possession time down there. Not only extend possession time, but he's a good, he's a guy that's, he's really efficient in penetrating from down low. So, those are some areas that we'll miss him in. And, guys are going to have to, just as it always is with an injury, other players have to step in and do the job. We've had JoJo on, on the left side, with McCann and Eberle in the spot that Jaden has been in for the last little bit here. So, that group they've had good opportunity to spend some time together and find a little chemistry in practice.
Yeah, Schwartz, he doesn't get enough credit for the amount of stick battles that he wins and how good he is in the forecheck and the little smart plays that maybe a lot of people don't see. But, if you're paying close attention and you've played this game for a while, you understand the importance of it. So he does a lot of that stuff that maybe goes unrecognized. And then for me, it makes it easy to play with. He's always playing the game pretty simple and making good plays around coming out of the zone in the forecheck and little plays to the middle. So that's the stuff that a lot of people don't see about Schwartzy, and in my opinion, why he's a great player.
You heard it there. Not getting enough credit. I love that. Now, I was calling for Jaden Schwartz to get a goal. I was not calling for him to get an injury. Come on, Jaden. I know. I'm being a little selfish here. Of course, we wish Jaden the best of luck. If you didn't see the Seattle Kraken put together a fun fan interaction where they can send Turbo some get well soon cards. I've already seen calls out to add Jaden to that. He had a successful surgery, but will be recovering from that surgery. So I'll keep you updated on that. But if you want to provide to the Turbo Get Well Soon Fund, check out the link in the show notes. If you're watching on YouTube, they'll be there. If you're listening to audio, they'll be there as well. Tough. So what does that mean? You kind of heard Dave Haxtell alluding to it, but we're going to hear a little bit more from Haxtell and Eberle because it's going to be JoJo. Of course, that's Marcus Johansson to that line now with McCann and with Eberle. So here's Dave Haxtell and Eberle kind of talking about what the new Triple J line. So Marcus, his name doesn't start with a J, but his last name starts with a J. So we can still go with Triple J line. I like that, obviously. I like that. So here's what Eberle and Haxtell had to say about JoJo.
There's not one or two specific things that I'm looking for. Really, it's just getting them time together. JoJo is a different player than Jaden. In terms of the things that he brings, but he can be a real driver in terms of transporting that puck into the zone. He's really good there 5-on-5, as well as we've seen him do that well on our power play as well. In the zone, he's a guy that works well off of the goal line, so he can do some he can bring some some real benefits to his line mates from that area as well, in terms of his ability to make plays off that goal line and his vision down there.
Yeah, no, we've dealt with it before. There's always guys getting hurt. I've had guys that I've played with for long periods of time go down, and you got to figure out chemistry with some other guys. So I think Cantor and I have been playing together for a little bit. We got JoJo with us now, and we've had a good week of practice here. I mean, obviously 4 and then 1 more on Sunday to gain some chemistry and try and we're going to get a lot of offensive chances and a lot of offensive zone shifts. So we have to find a way to create some offense, and that's what we're looking forward to do. So when a guy goes down, you got to pick up, especially a guy like Schwartz, you got to pick that up collectively. Not one guy can do it. So it's, it'll be a big task, but we have to find the depth to do it.
So only time will tell. The good thing is that the chemistry that I was seeing from that Triple J line early on in the season, that everybody, even in those clips was talking about, that was built through what? Through a training camp type situation, through practice, through training camp, through preseason. When you've got 10 days, and also I feel like I flubbed up on a show sometime last or maybe earlier this week, and I was like, oh, they've got the Winnipeg Jets. No. That game also postponed. So my bad on that. But when you've got all this time to practice, this is essentially like a mini training camp. And as a matter of fact, Haxtell and Eberle and, of course, Yanni Gourde also weighed in on that. That's coming up next on Locked On Kraken. It's the new year, so that means New Year's resolution, new year, new you, same great taste with Built Bar. And Built Bar is the protein bar that tastes like a candy bar, maybe tastes even better. If you want to eat healthy, but you're a little bit bored by your options, Built Bar has got you covered. It's a protein bar that's chock full of protein, 17 grams of protein, covered in chocolate, absolutely delicious, and is about 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, 4 net carbs, and all the amazing flavors. Cookie dough chunk, I keep telling you, is one of my favorites. Keep looking for that so I can stuff my pantry instead of getting some of the super salty snacks that I absolutely love, which are designed that way, by the way. Instead of having my pantry with some of the saltier options, I can go with a Built Bar and still make sure I'm getting my protein intake for the day and not losing out on any taste. So even if you're not a huge fan of working out, I'm not at that stage in my life, you can at least have something that tastes good. So many flavors to choose from. I've talked about a few of my favorites: coconut almond, peanut butter brownie, raspberry cookies and cream, salted caramel are in addition to that fantastic cookie dough chunk that I love. So if you head over to built.com and use promo code LOCKEDON15, you will get 15% off your next order of Built Bar. That's, again, head over to built.com. Use promo code LOCKED 15 for 15% off your next set of Built Bars. Happy snacking. Okay, we're back, folks. We're talking about practice. We're going to stay with the Seattle Kraken post-practice today. They will not have practice tomorrow, but let's actually head over to Jordan Eberle talking about how he's approaching this extended practice time and essentially recovery as well.
Yeah, I mean, this is obviously a rarity. I've never had this, having a week off mid-season, but I think for us, we needed some practice time. I think you look at how the season's gone and where we are. I mean, obviously, we're not happy with it. We're out of a playoff spot and trending in the wrong direction. So we need to we've had this week to find some answers to what we're doing wrong and obviously just get a little bit of a mental break more than anything and try and regroup as a team. So obviously, us being a new franchise, practice is always a welcome thing. We can get as many days as we can to try and figure this stuff out. And you look at the road trip we have ahead of us. So, we're going to have to be at our best if we're going to be able to compete.
And I love that because there's another element of this, right? This is a reset button, but this is something brand new. We've never seen this. Of course, the reason we're seeing all this practice is because of COVID. And unfortunately, there are still games being postponed. Now we're seeing postponements are coming because of in Canada, there are restrictions on attendance. And maybe next week we'll have a conversation about what that actually means and why the NHL doesn't want to put on hockey, even if they technically could play a game without attendance. It's a money thing, y'all. For those who are listening to audio, I am rubbing my fingers together because it's a money thing. Anyway, I get it. I don't love it, but I get it. That we'll save for next week. Dave Haxtell also talking about practice. Here's what he had to say about the opportunity for his team.
Well, I mean, yeah, absolutely. This is, the practice time, with 10 days in between games is valuable. This is a time of year that we all want to be playing. We want to be playing and competing. So we'll get back into that schedule on Monday. We jump right back in with a difficult road trip that'll really challenge us. So I think we're all looking forward to. We're going to take the day off tomorrow. We'll stay away from the rink. We'll stay off the ice tomorrow. Get back for a good practice on Sunday, and then travel and be ready to go in Colorado.
And finally, I want to take you to Yanni Gourde because Yanni Gourde gets after it in practice like I used to. I know I said in the Built Bar ad, I don't really get after it in the gym anymore. I'm a competition person. The gym was a necessity just so I could go to practice. Like I owned practice at every level when I played. And I get the sense that Yanni Gourde has that same intensity in practice. First of all, I love that he was smiling the whole time. Yanni's got a great smile, but that doesn't take away from his ferocity. And I love that too. Here's Yanni Gourde talking about why it's important to get after it in practice. And then I'm going to keep this clip because Ryan S. Clark, friend of the pod, still has yet to be a guest, but definitely a friend of the podcast. He asked Yanni Gourde about him kind of tussling a little bit with Will Borgen. So this is what Yanni had to say about that.
Yeah, I think the whole practice was about compete and winning your battle and winning your races and all of that. And I think everybody enjoys doing that, and it's gonna just bring the best out of each other. And I'm gonna practice harder because I want to win that puck, and I'm gonna make sure that if he wins it, then I gotta make him make it tough for him to win that. So that's how you push yourself and push each other. Absolutely, you gotta enjoy practice. You gotta enjoy game. You gotta enjoy competing. And if you don't enjoy doing that, I mean. I don't know what you do at this level. Everybody should enjoy doing that because that's the grind. If you love the grind, you're going to get further and you're going to get better. And I love doing that. I love going out there and trying to get better every single day. It's not always fancy. It's not always pretty. But I enjoy doing that. and like I said, trying to get better, working on some stuff, tips or whatever it is, and battles, and I love doing that.
Why you got to take on a little board again?
Oh, that's the other question. Well, we were battling one another, and he kept winning races against me, so so I just went pushing him around, but all for fun.
So there you go. Yeah, we talking about practice because that's all the Seattle Kraken are doing right now. Day after day, all the Kraken ever do is practice, practice, practice. Anyone? Swan Princess? Come on, it's a great one. Thinking of her and the way that it was. Practice, practice, practice. Oh, I love that film. So good. You would think it's Disney, but it's not. It's not Disney. Anyway, that was my Kraken karaoke for the day. Coming up next on Locked On Kraken, I will not sing, but I will give you the keys and all the key dates that you need to know to watch USA hockey. We have the dates for 2 of the USA teams. We have a little bit more roster information on one of the USA teams, and I will bring you up to snuff. That's what's coming up next on Locked On Kraken. Bet Online would like to wish you a happy betting year as we continue to march to the playoffs and beyond. Bet Online remains your number one spot in 2022 for all the best sports wagering action. It's a new year. It's a new updated desktop. You can still access it on your tablet and your mobile device. If you sign up today, though, over at betonline.ag, you will get a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. All you got to do is use our promo code LOCKED ON. From football to basketball, and of course, hockey, and even your favorite Las Vegas casino games, BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports. So don't miss out on any of the offers that we have available for this part of the sports season. BetOnline, where the game starts. You might have noticed that I've been wearing a lot of hats and beanies. Twofold. One, I am due for a trim with my fantabulous stylist, Diane DaCosta. But also, I keep it a little cool in the home office, or kind of, this is not really the office. But I like this for my set some ambiance. Anyway, I like to keep it a little cool. Keeps me, so when I get fired up or start singing Swan Princess, I don't overheat. Anyway, I don't know that you needed to know that, but here is what's heating up. We got 15 names that are associated and have allegedly been given an invite to USA to compete for Team USA, I should say, in the 2022 Winter Olympics for the men's team. Now, if you go to the USA Hockey website, I'll pull it up for you here in just a moment. So here we are at the USA Hockey website, and if you'll see right here, it says a coaching staff and roster will be announced at a later date. Now, there's another place on the website, as I'm going to toggle out of that, but there's another place on the website that says we're going to get that roster mid-January, but no fear, because Frank Saravelli is here, and he has 15 names that have been extended an offer to compete for USA. And oh yeah, Matty Beniers, our first ever draft pick. You best believe he's on the list. When I knew we had Matty Beniers, when I knew the accolades that he had with USA Hockey, and just the praise and the respect that he has within the organization, I felt confident Matty Beniers was going to be someone that was extended an offer to compete for USA Hockey in the Olympics. And as someone who's going to the Olympics, I am so excited. So we don't know if Matty Beniers, for any variety of reasons, is going to accept. I sure would. But then again, like I told you, I'm going to the Olympics. I would if I were Matty Beniers. I certainly hope that he does. But again, these 15 names, they've been extended an invite. These names are subject to change for any reason, between now and then, including positive COVID tests. Beijing is still trying to figure out how to navigate that. I can tell you from a media side, there are different protocol if you have tested positive at any point in time for COVID versus those who have not tested positive ever. I'm trying to be in that latter category. So doing what I got to do to make sure that it stays that way between now and when I fly out on the 31st. So anyway, we'll see what happens. I just mentioned COVID as one of the things, but maybe Matty Beniers because of COVID or a bunch of other things. I mean, Michigan is on fire. There's all kinds of reasons. He's not an NHL player yet. He gets this really cool loophole where he can still compete in an Olympics. And you know what? There's a guy you may know, and I love him, that has some insight on this. So you saw the names, Frank Cervelli tweeting about that. Now I'm going to take you to Ryan Donato, because did you know Ryan Donato competed in the Olympics? Well, here's what he had to say about the experience, including some of what was really cool to experience that was outside of the hockey rink.
Yeah, no, I mean, that experience for me was a tremendous blessing. I mean, probably one of my favorite hockey memories, if not my favorite hockey memory. Being in college, you don't really get the opportunity to be on that large of a stage, especially the largest stage in sports. So for me, as a kid, you always grew up watching Team USA and wanting to represent your country, and the guys that get selected, hopefully from college, I mean, just embrace it and cherish the moment. No, yeah, I mean, away from the rink, I mean, it's a tremendous thing. Meeting the other athletes from different sports and from different countries, and seeing the different houses, and I mean, there's so many different things, and walking in the Olympic Village and doing all those things. There's just so many experiences that are packed into a short time. So it's hard to kind of put everything into perspective. Now that I'm out of it and been out of it for a while, I realize how much of a blessing it was. But when you're there, you're so focused on hockey, you just got to make sure you enjoy the little things as well that come with it.
So all in all, don't know officially what this means for Matty Beniers or the rest of USA Hockey. We do have the women's national team roster. You remember that we had a nice roundtable and squad cast. Yes! We had a great squad cast where we broke that down. Link in the show notes so you can see the women's roster. I am going to talk about the women's national team a little bit next week, but we're not going to talk about them on today's show. I would love to talk about the Paralympic team and sled hockey. Unfortunately, we still don't have that roster. So we're going to have to wait. And when we do get that roster, oh, you know it, we're bringing back Ann Kimmel, our resident expert on all things Paralympic sled hockey. Let's go. Also, make sure you're listening to Locked On Predators. I enjoy Ann and Nick so much. They have a great rapport with each other and definitely know what they're talking about. So, next week's show, hopefully we'll have a game day on Monday. And then I want to also circle back to the Black Hockey History Mobile Museum. I told you I have a little bit from Everett Fitzhugh. We're going to talk about that because the Mobile Museum rolls through Seattle in April, and your girl's going to be there in April. So that's going to be exciting. Everett and I talked about the Black Hockey History Mobile Museum and what we can expect or what we think is pretty cool about it. The Mobile Museum has already hit a few spots, including it kicked off this year's tour at the Winter Classic. So got a little bit of a sneak peek. I'll break all of that down. And if you didn't know, in addition to coverage that you'll get of the Winter Olympics right here on the Locked On Podcast Network and right here on Locked On Kraken, I'm actually working with the company that presented, in partnership with the National Hockey League, the Black Hockey History Mobile Museum, and that is American Legacy Network. So I'm going to put my information here, but make sure you're following me because I will have some really cool stuff that is going to expand, hopefully, some of what we get from the Black Hockey History Mobile Museum, and not just for hockey, but for all winter sports. Right now, it's only looking like Sarah Nurse when it comes to representation for hockey, which is a problem. Okay. Shout out to Abby Rock, though, because she's the first ever Indigenous woman to compete for the United States. Now, we had a few Indigenous players for Team Canada, but never on the women's side for the US of A. So, lots of stuff. I'm super excited. Hopefully, we'll get a game day as the Seattle Kraken travel to Colorado, but I'll keep you updated. Make sure you're also following Locked On Kraken because any updates there will be tweeting and all that good stuff. So you know what I'm going to say. It's a Friday and it's a great day to hold fast, to stay true, and as always, root for the home team. And that's the Seattle Kraken. Let's go, Kraken! We wish you a speedy recovery, Brandon Tanev, and of course, Schwartzy, Jaden Schwartz. Have a great weekend. Stay happy. Stay healthy. And make sure you're taking care of each other. I'm your host of Locked On Kraken, Erica Lindsay Ayala, signing out until Monday. Bye!